Hi, Nick.
Hi, Thomas. How you doing?
I'm perfectly fine. And Nick, tell me what we are about to do right now.
So right now we are going to record a question and answer session for the people of Officience. You remember we had Duke, the CEO, and Nampong, an employee at Officience, on our podcast, which
Oh,
was
yes, I remember that.
You remember that? So there's a lot of eagerness to know more about unbossing and similar concepts, also in Thailand, Vietnam, and the rest of Asia. And therefore, we are going to record this Q&A, and they will share this within their company and with their network.
Love it. So, I'm fired up.
So let's start with the icebreaker question, Thomas. Why do companies need to unboss?
Two reasons, guys. First, if you want to go with the pace of innovation, which is happening outside you, and guys, I know it is happening outside you, in whatever sector you are in. Are you in banking? Are you a food manufacturer? Are you a car manufacturer? Are you a bakery? It is happening. And you want to meet or even overtake that speed of change happening outside you, there is only one way and only one way. And this way is not the hierarchy. This way is not the command and control. This way is small, empowered teams which you let go as micro enterprises. And this is what we call unbossing. Now comes reason number two. And that is at this moment, at least in Europe, let's be honest, the most pressing one. If you want to get and retain the talent on the ever increasing competitive talent market, there is no way around it, because this talent is not accepting anymore, and not even for 1 year, accepting anymore, being in a position of being constantly told what to do, and even worse, how to do it exactly. This talent will be gone in a nutshell. So if I should put that now, Nick, in one sentence, you have to unboss if you still want to be relevant in your markets in 5 years, let alone in 10 years.
Absolutely. Two additions. Just before this recording, I had a phone call from a 27-year-old young woman. She graduated as an engineer with the best numbers of her class. And after 4 years of working in a company which wasn't transparent, where she was just told what to do, where there was no space for entrepreneurship or whatsoever, she called me and said, please, can you give me a list of companies where I can find this? Because I just cannot take it anymore. So that's an example of your second point. And I think to wrap up, we see an organization as the interface between the outside world, your customers, market trends, political trends, social trends, and the internal world, which are the employees, the systems, the processes, the culture. And if the rate of change on the outside is faster than the rate of change on the inside, then the interface simply doesn't work. You no longer have a market organization fit. And I think that's the case for most organizations. Their organization model and system is simply no longer fit for the market in the world in which they have to operate. So Thomas, following question, and maybe I'll start with I'm going to let you start. What are the benefits for employees, and not only the knowledge workers in the company, but also the people working on the machines, cleaning the offices, making the products? What are the benefits for employees to work in an unbossed organization?
Let me ask that question to every single listener. How do you feel? Yes, you, listener, how do you feel when there is a project, a task, something which you either want to do or have to do? Doesn't matter. And I give you two options. Option number one is somebody, me, I tell you when to do it, I tell you how exactly to do it, and I tell you that I will come in a couple of hours to check if you have done it correctly. That's option one. And option two is that we agree on, hey, that's the target, right? Do we agree? And then there is only one word for me: go, do it. And now I ask you again, listener, yes, you, do you feel better with option one and doing it under option one? Or do you feel better under option two? And I guarantee you now, Nick, and I look at you, that 95% of all people, if that is the truck driver, if that is the receptionist, if that is the head of R&D, will belong to the group who will choose option two. And I guarantee you also, Nick, that at least 95% of the listeners of what we are recording now will choose option two. And I don't think that we have to explain scientifically and that we have to write long papers why everybody feels better with option two. What the hell of a difference that is in feeling, in bringing my own passion towards it, in doing it in my own way. And we also both know, Nick, how much better the result will be.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I think the same message, but from my more high level perspective, maybe it's the personal journey of a lifetime where you use the context of work to continuously develop yourself. If you're working in the machine, you are actually asked not to think, not to reflect, and almost not to develop. Whereas in an unbossed organization where it's clear why we are in business and where we want to go, we are aligned on that, and you're free on the how, you're completely free on how to get there. In that freedom come a lot of challenges. It's not easy, especially in the beginning, it comes with a lot of challenges, but the challenges trigger you to develop yourself as a person, to get free of your limiting beliefs, to start discovering where you get energy and where you don't. So you start to understand much better what are my talents in the company and what things shouldn't I do in the company. You feel much more safe to express yourself. You feel much more freed to come up with ideas. You will grow and get more courage to take more and more decisions and to take more and more ownership and therefore more and more responsibility in whatever role you are. You will be able to transfer or translate problems and challenges and negative situations into positive ones and learn from tensions and conflicts rather than trying to push them under the table until they blow up in your face. So yeah, and the list goes on and on. So for me, it's really from an employee perspective, this context of freed autonomy and ownership is really the ideal context to develop yourself as a human being. And the more you develop yourself, the happier you become, and the more impact you also have, not only on your colleagues, but on everyone with whom you get in contact.
That's it, Nick. And every listener, or at least 95% of all listeners, are feeling that. They feel they want option two, Nick. And now you even made them more conscious and explained them why they have that feeling, which they have already for 10 minutes.
Next question. What kind of skills do employees need to thrive in an unbossed organization? And I've listed 5 skills, Thomas, and maybe you can refine afterwards.
Yeah.
The first one is non-violent communication. You need to be able to give each other feedback, to put tensions on the table, to discuss conflicts and learn from conflicts in a connecting way, right? Because the entire journey of unbossing the organization comes with challenges, and you need to be able to tackle those challenges and discuss those challenges, no matter how much tension you feel with it. So that's the first one. The second one is customer obsession. As in an unbossed organization, you want every employee to have direct contact with a customer, whether it's an external
Bingo.
customer or an internal customer. And you want every employee to understand what customer obsession is, how to think customer obsessed and how to act customer obsessed. The third one is getting things done, because you no longer have a boss to tell you what to do. That doesn't mean that the pile of work to be done is still there. That doesn't disappear. And now it's up to you to prioritize, to structure your work, to define what you're going to do today and tomorrow, what you're not going to do. So personal productivity, getting things done is absolutely a third skill. Number 4 is improvisation and humor for me, because the world is very challenging. The world is not here to make you happy. It's your job to make yourself happy. It's very challenging. So you will have setbacks, and every setback you need to improvise, get back up. And the more you bring humor in the situation, the more lighter it becomes and the more fun it becomes. And last but not least is the skill of self-reflecting. So the ability to reflect, like, what did I contribute to this situation? What is my part? But also self-reflecting on what kind of tasks and work gives me energy, where do I thrive, and what kind of tasks don't give me energy, and I should pass through to someone else. So also that kind of reflection. Or when a customer gives feedback, not going into defense, but really reflecting on what the customer is saying. So I have nonviolent communication, customer obsession, getting things done, improvisation and humor, and self-reflection. Those are the 5 skills I believe are critical for any employee in an unbossed organization.
And now you hit the jackpot, Nick. And what I love, let's talk about this nonviolent communication, which also it's scientific, as we both know, Nick. What is the magic ingredient, what you and I are injecting into organizations, which enables this nonviolent communication? It's one word, and that is trust. Because in a highly political organization, and every listener knows what I mean with highly political, you can have the best skills in nonviolent communication in the world. If there is no trust, it will bring you nowhere. And that is the reason, Nick, why you and I are so much busy with this trust issue, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, following question. What's the role of transparency in an unbossed organization? What's the definition of transparency, and how much transparency is enough?
Transparency means the absence of fear, and it means the presence of trust. Now, let's talk about transparency in the sense of internal transparency. And I ask again all our listeners, how many companies and organizations you know where the internal figures, the internal performances are only presented to a selected club of leaders, very carefully selected, who is allowed to see this kind of secret service informations? Guys, this is going in the totally wrong direction. And I tell you why. Because if you don't trust your people, and you obviously don't trust them, why do you hire them in the first place? Why do you work together with people whom you don't trust? That's my question. And that's my take also on how important internal transparency is. It is extremely important, and it is a kind of flow which comes with trust.
Absolutely. And to put another perspective on transparency next to that, it's in a sense, an unbossed organization is an organization that's able to constantly inspect what it's doing and adapt accordingly, right? So it's constantly evolving. The only way you can trigger people to constantly evolve is first by creating awareness on what's happening.
Exactly.
You need to make the unconscious conscious before people can react to it. So in my opinion, transparency is a means to an end, and it's a means to set people and trigger people into action. And I'm so confused always when I hear leaders saying, yeah, my people, they don't take ownership, they don't take action. And then we ask, well, do they have all the information? Do they understand why they need to take action? And then it's exactly. Like, not really. So to me, that's what transparency is about. I don't believe that people fail to change because of lack of motivation, but it's because lack of clarity. They don't understand why they should change. And it's very easy to say you need to be more customer obsessed, but at the same time, it's super vague. I mean, you need to create transparency on what this means. What are customers currently giving us as feedback? How can we improve this? So that's what transparency is, the trigger to inspect what you're doing and to adapt accordingly.
Exactly. And the tool. Otherwise, Nick, it's like I tell you, please repair my car, but you have zero tools. It's a joke.
It's
and I can also,
joke.
I can give you an example from a sugar factory and from sugar factory workers who suddenly, when they get regularly, in the best case daily, performance figures, suddenly become performance champions even without any financial reward, even without any kind of sophisticated way of motivating. They are motivated. Just tell them what the hell is going on. And and the results are amazing. I can tell you that out of my own experience.
Yeah, maybe to conclude this one with a very simple metaphor, one of the most effective fitness tools is the scale, right?
Good one.
Yeah,
good one.
You go on the scale, you go above what you believe is a healthy weight for yourself, and it triggers action. It triggers something. At least it triggers something. Yeah.